What is the craziest fact you know that most people won't know? 1 in every 5,000 babies are born without a butthole, which is to be created manually by the hospital. The condition is called imperforate anus. The first child abuse prosecution in America was done with the help of the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Seems crazy, right? Well, in 1874 there were no laws against child abuse, but there were laws against cruelty to horses and other livestock. It was argued that since children were property of their parents and also part of the animal kingdom, they were entitled to the same rights as horses. My son ain't no animal. I'll beat him any way I please. Viking ships could sail in only 18 inches of water. If it got too shallow, all the men could jump out and carry the ship until the water was deep enough. Common men could jump out and carry the ship. Badass. If you brought the sun down to the size of a white blood cell, 7 micrometers, and then brought everything else down to scale, our galaxy, the Milky Way, would be the size of the continental USA. Yeah, that was my reaction too. On the side of every box of aluminum foil, or saran wrap, plastic wrap, there is a perforated section. Push this in on both sides, and boom, your roll will never fall out of the box. I found this in my tactile explorations only a year or two ago. If you lie on your back and look out towards the blue sky, fix your eyes on a single spot and try not to move them, you can tell the state of various things going on in your own eyeballs. Now, most people already know about floaters, those broken off bits of capillary that float around in the vitreous humor. Edit, not aqueous humor, but this isn't about them. What you can see if you let your eyes relax is very small white dots traveling across your vision in tortuous pathways, everywhere but the exact center of where you are looking at. If you wait and resist the temptation to try and look at them directly, you'll see additional white dots eventually following these same paths. What you are seeing are individual white blood cells moving across the capillaries in front of your retina. They reflect a small amount of reflected light, reflected from your retina then back at it again because they have a nucleus and DNA, whereas red blood cells do not. The blue background is not strictly necessary, but makes them easier to see. On that note, don't look at the fricking sun. The name of the city of Buffalo has nothing to do with the animal. It's an English bastardization of the French beau fleuve, meaning beautiful river. The North American 9-banded armadillo tends to jump straight in the air when surprised, and consequently often collides with the undercarriage or fenders of passing vehicles. At one time the launch code for all American strategic nuclear missiles was 00000000. Joshua WOPR could have guessed that one in the first 10 seconds. At one time the launch codes for Britain's Trident nuclear missiles were secured with bicycle locks. Toxoplasmosis is a parasitic infection which has some amount of evidence to suggest that it can yield sizable behavioral changes in people. You get it from cat crap. The total amount of energy from outside the solar system ever received by all the radio telescopes on the planet is less than the energy of a single snowflake falling to the ground. Don't be silly, radio waves aren't made of snowflakes. Endosymbiont theory. The mitochondria in our cells responsible for producing our energy currency were once primitive bacteria. Same for chloroplasts in plants. The evidence lies in the 70s ribosome structure, size, and circular DNA. On a lesser note, the scientist responsible for this theory, Lynn Margulis, was married to Carl Sagan. The red state blue state dichotomy did not exist prior to the 2000 election. Before that, the color was alternately assigned to the incumbent president's party. Blue was assigned to the Democrats in 2000 because of Clinton's Democratic membership. Red was assigned to the Republicans in 2004 because of Bush's partyid. Republican voting states should have been blue in 2008, again because of Bush's partyid, but red state blue state had entered the lexicon and stuck. Also everywhere else in the world, red generally represents the most liberal political party present. I have fixed well over 100 PS2 systems. Around 95% were fixed simply by adding better grease to the rails on which the laser slides. The same grease was used in every single PS2 from beginning to end. Tons upon tons of PS2s with failing drives were caused by cheap grease. Haha, I have a friend that does that same thing with Xbox 360s and makes bank. All navel oranges that we currently eat on planet Earth are produced by clones, i.e., cuttings, originating from a single, accidental, mutant orange tree that grew in Brazil in 1820. Unlike most oranges and other produce, navel oranges cannot be selectively bred since they do not produce viable seeds, and all existing navel oranges are effectively genetically identical to that original mutant tree. There are 15 core metabolic processes that have their origins in autocatalytic geochemical processes that took place early in Earth's creation. Every single living organism on this planet exists only to carry out those few processes. In other words, the incredible diversity of species is a result of these core processes adapting to suit environments better. Everything. The official Star Wars explanation for how the Millennium Falcon could complete the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Given that a parsec is distance and not time, the Kessel Run loops around a black hole, and completing it in a mere 12 parsecs implies cutting the path dangerously close. I always liked the fan explanation that Han Solo just didn't know what the frick he was talking about, kind of like Leo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can. Well, I got downvoted in another post for thinking that most people knew that the wasabi we get at most sushi places is just horseradish. Real wasabi is super expensive. Hey, it's not just horseradish, it's horseradish that's been dyed green, damn it. Al Gore ruined my favorite trivia question, which was, who is the only person to have won both a Nobel Prize and an Academy Award? The answer used to be George Bernard Shaw. Now I have to ask who the first one was. Martin Van Buren was the first president born a US citizen and the first, and only, president not to speak English as his first language. Hedy Lamarr, the film actress who did one of the first nude scenes in movies, also co-invented a technology for frequency hopping radio transmissions. The subway system in St. Petersburg, Russia also doubles as a massive bomb shelter. The escalator I took had a halfway point with what looked to be stainless steel hinges for the blast door. Sonic Hedgehog is a protein in the hedgehog signaling pathway and it's inhibited by riboflavin. Bluegrass, while normally thought of as being simple backwoods music, is one of the most technically challenging genres of music that one can play. Remember that next time a bluegrass band is portrayed as a bunch of inbred hillbillies on TV. I can shred an electric guitar. I can't touch 90% of genuine bluegrass banjo. The primary stimulative sexual male organ is the prostate, which is located in the anus. It is, through heterosexual contact, stimulated by forcing an involuntary anal contraction through direct stroking of the gland's penis, often coupled with muscular contraction of the glutes from pelvic thrusting. Without prostate stimulation, male orgasm cannot be achieved. Relax butt when wanking next time. You won't be able to jizz. Maine is the only state with one syllable. It is also the only state only bordered by one other state. Also, fleas can jump 300 times their body size. The reason a female praying mantis bites off the head of the male while copulating is because ejaculation is permanently inhibited by the male's brain. Only by removing the head, disabling the brain really, does the male ejaculate. All mammals can swim, including babies. It's only when we're old enough to be afraid of the water that we suddenly forget how and need to be taught. Of course, babies cannot hold up their gigantic heads for air, but if you toss them in a pool and jump in after them, they'll swim and hold their breath until you get to them. A single coffee tree only grows about 1 pound of roasted coffee a year. Also, fair trade certified price for a pound is $1.26. Line up all the square numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Find the differences between them 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. They all differ by 2. Line up all the cubes, and the difference is eventually 6. Line up all the 4, and the difference is eventually 24. If you do the math out, the difference between any combination of powers of n breaks down to n. I have no idea if there is any use or special math behind this. It's just something I figured out while I was bored in junior high, sometime in the 80s. Hydrogen is a tasteless, invisible gas, and if you give it enough time, it will turn into people, according to R. Dawkins. If you are standing outside on a sunny day, the light inside your skull is bright enough for someone to comfortably read a book in there. Outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside a dog, it's too dark to read. My wife was doing a crossword puzzle and asked me what was Warren Harding's middle name. Without even batting an eye, I responded, Gamaliel. She looks down at the crossword, mouths a few letters silently, looks up and says, "You're a freak." 310 Buttface 310-277-3223 is the number for a prominent Cedars-Sinai plastic surgeon. This is in Beverly Hills, which makes it funnier. I discovered this after a night of drunk dialing funny phone numbers. We called, and when we heard that Buttface was the number for a plastic surgeon, we lost it. It seems too good to be true, like something out of a stupid comedy. However, it is easily verified with a Google search or phone call. We of course informed the lady who answered that her number is Buttface, and of the hilarity of the situation. She was not amused. It is apparently the doctor's emergency line. I have never told anyone this. I kept it as my little private fact. Thinking of this always makes me happy, and leads me to believe that reality is not necessarily that much worse than the world I choose to live in. If you have a person listen to a recording of a parrot talking about them, it will immediately create a fear response. This is used when taking MRI scans to create an artificial fear response when needed. Batman and Robin would have serious brain damage if they were real. They get hit in the back of the head and knocked out collectively 40+ times in just the first 50 issues of Detective Comics. Foreigners call the capital of Thailand Bangkok. Thai people call it Krungthep or Krungthep Mahanakhon. Actually, the full name for Bangkok in Thai is Krungthep Mahanakhonamon Ratanakas in Mahinthara Yathea Mahadalok Fop not for it Ratchathani Buraramudom Chaniwat Mahasathanamon Femanawat and Sathit Sakathatanawits Anukam Prasit. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.